Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and today it's time for the Ultimate Universe again, the second Ultimate Universe, with Ultimate Spider-Man, which I think is probably the bigger one, the one that a lot of people will be paying attention to. Not only is it by Hickman, but Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, was the one that a lot of people will go back and look back as fond memories. Not only because of how cool the Peter Parker of that universe was, but also the fact that it gave us Miles Morales, one of my all-time favourite characters. So, it's Hickman. That's good. I got some stuff to talk about with Hickman, and it is Chichetto, who's a really good artist I absolutely like. I'm going to start talking about the art first because that's what I noticed first. And I like Chichetto. I went into this one with a very high estimation of this artist, and he absolutely knocks it out of the park. He has a style which I absolutely love. It feels like it never feels out of place within the Marvel in-house style. It looks like you'd expect a Marvel comic to look, but the more you look into it, the deeper you pay attention to it, the more you see he's actually trying cooler things. He doesn't worry too much about a clean, razor-sharp line for a lot of his work. He has a much more free-form kind to it, and he lets stuff get punky and scratchy, which I really, really like. He knows when to use an effective 9-panel page, but he also throws in the kind of like Marvel layouts that everyone really likes and look fantastic and eye-catching. He is one of the better people working within the Marvel style, I think, and he absolutely is the right person for this comic book. A reimagining of Peter Parker. The thing is, though, it's also got Hickman on it, and Hickman is, by almost any measure, one of the best regarded writers out there in comic books at the moment. Across a whole divide, a whole bunch of people like him, from his really dark horror stuff to his big reimagining of Marvel concepts. He is known to be a fantastic writer, and I've read a bunch of his stuff that I have enjoyed. But I do not like him as much as a lot of other people do, particularly when it comes to his Marvel stuff. I can take it or leave it for the most part, and it's hard to exactly articulate why. Like I say, he's great. I have really enjoyed a whole bunch of stuff he's done. I've got in my collection a few Hickman books. It's difficult to just say he's a really talented writer, but then say I don't like him. So let's look into a little bit more about why I don't particularly like him and why this book may have changed my mind. And it comes down to the artwork a little bit. I was today taking some routes down to the basement of the arcade I'm in, and I'm going down a poorly lit staircase into the raw stone walls of a cellar, and I'm remembering Chitetto's artwork and how rough and raw it is, and then realising maybe that's why I'm not completely coming to the Hickman thing. Because I've said before, I like my dialogue, I like my world to be kind of naturalistic and feel like, you know, it could really exist. And if you are going for, I don't know, I don't want to say perfection, I think that might be pushing too far, but if you're going for, like, technically spectacular, that doesn't necessarily translate well into realism. I think you can do it sometimes in artwork, like a beautiful landscape or three-point perspective city, look fantastic, and also could be technically proficient. But I think with the writing, there needs to be a little bit of heart. And that's not to say you cannot put emotional beats in there. But even some of his emotional beats feel like, gosh, that is a very good example of how that emotional situation would play out in a comic book. Well done. But doesn't really grab me. Until this one. And it comes down to a friendship between two older gentlemen, and I absolutely love it. I am there for it 100%. We basically have Uncle Ben still being alive, and J. Jonah Jameson both working at this universe's version of the Daily Bugle, and both of them leaving because it's been taken over by organised crime. And the fact that they both leave, and the way they do it, and how they talk to each other both before and after the event, is just one of the most compellingly accurate looks at male friendship I've seen from people of a certain generation. Because me and my friends, our friendship is very different to this. But this is not inauthentic because of that. It is a generational thing, and it's people who have lived very different lives than I have lived, and have been in relationships with each other for longer. It is not overly emotional. It is not tactile, but it is still 100% loving, caring friendship. And there is humour that comes from that. The fact they've known each other for so long, they vibe off each other, they understand each other's humour and what they can and cannot say to each other, and what can be taken as jokes and what can't. And all of a sudden I had this moment of like, wow, is this what everyone else sees all the time? Like, is it me, I'm only looking at a technical aspect of it, but then I see something which feels representative. Not necessarily of me, as I say, my friendships are different, but I admire male friendships. I like seeing them represented well in media because they're quite often not. An awful lot of male friendship is very bro-based, it's very competitive, it is very first one past the finish line kind of thing, or when it does show emotion, it is done as a joke. And this doesn't go that way, and I really, really like it. Add to that the fact that it is a really good version of all of these characters. Now, I don't really get into the Ultimate Universe stuff that much, I've hardly read any of it, but there has been a change to the timeline, so we're getting different versions even of the different versions. but they all feel fantastic. They feel well-rounded. They feel genuine. I can't really put it any better than that, but it's one of the few times I've read one of Hickman's Marvel books specifically. His other stuff I've really enjoyed for other reasons, but a Marvel book and I've been like, yeah, these feel like people experiencing a world that is real to them and we are just watching it. It doesn't feel like it's staged, it doesn't feel like it's set up to make a point, although there's a fantastic ending to it, and the final page is Cheto's masterpiece. I absolutely love it. Genuinely impressed with this one. Kind of annoyed I didn't put myself down for it because, I'm not a big Hickman fan, but he may have changed my mind. He may have a convert here. I will certainly be checking out issue 2, and I'm going to borrow copies off people if I can't get them. It is well worth a look. That's it from me for now, though. I'll be back with another review tomorrow. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.